The team MVP for the Reds is a 3-horse race, and it's anywhere but decided.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Steven Offenbaker. He's Jeff Carr. You're an everydayer, and this is Locked On Reds. Thanks for joining us for this episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and you can use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. All right, a little bit later on today's show, we're going to predict the Reds awards. You know this, every year at the end of the season, the Reds hand out awards: best hitter, best pitcher, team MVP, best reliever, etc., etc. We're going to predict what that might look like, given there's still so many guys around that we didn't think were going to be here. We're going to project what the pitchers for this team are going to be able to accomplish the rest of the way this season. And we are going to begin with projecting some of these Reds hitters, because there are some fun, friendly competitions, Jeff, to watch the rest of the way, especially when it all plays into those awards for team MVP, because some of these hitters are doing things we didn't expect from them. Sal Stewart, JJ Bleday. Some of these hitters haven't quite peaked where we thought they might. Elly De La Cruz, there's still time. And then there's guys that have just had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad season thus far. Gino, Matt McLean, guys like that. So now that we're through the trade deadline, now that we've had some time to process, digest, vent, grumble, complain a little bit, it's time to look at what's left and where things can go through the month of August and September. So let's start with the hitters, because the guy that everybody's watching right now throughout baseball is Sal Stewart. He has himself locked in a 2-horse race for Rookie of the Year. We're going to talk about that a little bit with the entire cast of characters from the National League Central on tomorrow's show, as we squad it up into a squad show with the whole NL Central. That's going to be a fun conversation. But Sal is definitely competing for Rookie of the Year. And he has done some things that I didn't really see coming. We said way back at Reds Fest that it didn't take very long for Sal Stewart to win us over. We became Sal believers very quickly after just listening to him talk for a few minutes. And he has gone out this season and he has backed that up, Jeff. He has really gotten things done in a way that I didn't think was possible. Where he sits right now, as we're talking about this, he has a batting average of 255. He's on base at a 335 clip. He's hit 24 home runs and he leads the league in RBIs, currently with 86. He has gone above and beyond what I expected from him. He's only scratched the surface of his talent, I think, and there's still a lot of baseball to play. It is not unrealistic for him to crack 30 home runs. It is not unrealistic for him to crack 100 plus RBIs. I think he's going to get it done.
He is become this guy that we really wanted the Reds to acquire in the offseason. And we kind of thought that was going to be Gino. That was going to be the guy near the middle of your order that hits 30 plus bombs. We just didn't think that he was already on the team. And it's clear that Sal Stewart is that guy. His argument for like team MVP is the same argument that we have for Rookie of the Year, where JJ Weatherholt has a higher wins above replacement than Sal Stewart does. But Sal Stewart leads in like every offensive category. I mean, he even leads in hits. He has more hits than Elly De La Cruz does. Now, part of that was Elly De La Cruz was injured, and Elly De La Cruz has a much higher batting average, but Elly is higher on base and he's higher on slugging, but Sal's got all the counting stats, except for stolen bases. I think that Sal's got a real big argument here as far as the most valuable player on this team, because without him, this lineup would have just been leaderless, and it would have been without clutch at bats. He's been so clutch for this team that I think projecting him moving forward, I think he's clearly going to break 100 RBI. He's got a chance to break 110 RBI if he goes crazy the rest of the way. And I think especially for this gauntlet that's coming up in September, he is going to need to step up, because those guys that have been marginal at best with their performances, they're probably going to be shut down by the pitching that the Reds will face during the gauntlet. Sal Stewart's got to be that guy that's going to have to step up, and I believe that he's ready for that occasion.
Well, you talk about what he's done and kind of been the engine of this lineup. I love the effect that he's had on the at bats that Elly De La Cruz is getting.
Yes.
Because pitchers can't just pitch around Elly anymore. We saw this several times last year where they were just intentionally walking Elly because there was nobody else in the lineup they were afraid of. But right now, you walk Elly, Sal Stewart has a good chance to drive him in. And you look at Elly's stats and trying to project out what he can do the rest of the way, Jeff. While it feels like it's a little bit of a letdown season for Elly and what we thought he was going to do, it's really, I mean, you look at his slash line right now, he's at 276, 356, 499. He's got 18 home runs, a little bit off what we thought he could be, but there's still time for him to build on that. He could still get to 25 home runs this year, which is kind of where we thought he would get. He needs 7 more home runs to get to 25 home runs on the year. I think that's doable. You look at his stolen base count, way down, and we know that some of his leg injuries contributed into that. He's only at 20 stolen bases right now. That number could go up well. You look at what he's done overall, the statistics, the projections, there's room for him to grow this season. There's room for him to get things done, but there's things in there that you really have to dig into the stats and you really have to divide them out. I love what he's been able to do this year as a right-handed hitter. And I think the fact he figured it out from the right side of the plate much better than he was in previous seasons gives me hope that through August, through that gauntlet in September, he's going to continue to grow these numbers. I think he will get to 25 home runs. I think he'll get that RBI count up just a little bit. I think he's the leadoff hitter for this team from now on. I don't think this is something we move away from next year and beyond. I think Elly De La Cruz is the leadoff hitter for the Cincinnati Reds as long as he's wearing that uniform.
The Reds have their 1-2 punch. I mean, we have seen this work so well, Elly and Sal, for the last couple of weeks, even just recently. But the way that this strategy has worked for Tito in the lineup, what is really key is that more often than not, when they are coming up in the 9th inning, whether that be the top or the bottom half, you usually get one of Elly or Sal up. And that's not something you would get if they're hitting 3-4. That's not something we saw even a lot whenever Elly was hitting 2, or whenever Elly was hitting 2 and Sal was hitting 3. Like, it feels so much more strategic to have them 1-2. And Elly, you mentioned that he's not having the kind of year that we thought. That's on the counting side. Best batting average of his career, best on base percentage of his career, best slugging percentage of his career. Yep. Like, had he been able to play those games that he missed, we'd be talking about a dude that is setting career marks in every single number. He's probably past 30 home runs by the end of the year, probably past 30 or 40 steals by the end of the year. This is the kind of guy that we have been wanting Elly to turn into. And like you mentioned, a massive part of this is because Sal Stewart is protecting him in the lineup. He finally found that protection.
There's a couple other guys I want to get to here, Jeff. I want to talk about the fact that Tyler Stephenson is still here. Tyler Stephenson is going to be with this team the rest of the way. And he's had, since, the last 6 weeks, he has really turned it on. You look at where he sits right now, and as a whole, it's not overwhelming, but all of the counting stats are climbing. Right now, his batting average is up to 252. He's got his on base percentage at 338. That's fantastic, especially when you're talking about a catcher. Slugging percentage is low at 411, but he's got to that 9th home run. What's he going to do? Well, obviously he's not going to hit 40 home runs this year, but I am, by God, going to continue to count them down. It's realistic to say maybe he finishes around 15 home runs, and that's a disappointment for me. But if all of his stats continue to move the way they've been moving over the last month or so, he's going to finish the year with a decent statistical total. And, right now he's playing for his next contract. I look for him to really just push hard all the way through the end of the season, no matter what the Reds are doing in the standings, no matter what the Reds are doing on the field. Ty Steve's going to work hard because he wants to get that next deal. And I think that bodes well for his numbers and for what he's going to provide the Reds the rest of the way.
If he keeps up this pace, I could see him getting to 15 home runs. That would be a nice total for him in the season. But I mean, his last month, you mentioned this, he's hitting 321. he's getting on base at a Joey Votto level. 406 is his on base for the last 28 days. And then he's slugging 589. This is the guy that we've been hoping for. And you can tell, I mean, Jose Trevino has been doing a nice, admirable job on the once out of like every 4 or 5 days that he plays, but it's not to the level that Tyler Stephenson has been providing at the plate. And this lineup really misses him whenever he's out. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got the rest of the way. The guy that I'm also looking forward to watching the rest of the way, and I think is somebody that we can sort of project a little bit, because recently he's had some nice success, has been what we have seen out of Dane Myers. And the guy that he's come off the injured list, and I think that there's something here for him to be counted upon in this outfield next year. I'm not saying because he's here they shouldn't go get somebody, but they will be happy to have him because he's under multiple years of team control. But he's really hit well. Like, he's the kind of guy that moving forward, I definitely want to see him play more often than not, because the results that he has provided has been encouraging.
Well, it's not just hitters, Jeff. We have some pitchers to get to as well. Coming up here in just a minute, we're going to project what's realistic for this pitching staff, given the recent obstacles from Nick Lodolo and Hunter Greene. That's coming up next.
Support for today's episode comes from Clutch Parlays. Whether you're betting on the big game, player props, or building your next parlay, having the right information makes all the difference. Tracking odds across sportsbooks like FanDuel, finding your value picks, building parlays, tracking bets, and analyzing performance, Clutch Parlays gives you the tools to make every wager with more confidence. Instead of piecing together odds, pregame analysis, live predictions, bet tracking, and analytics from a bunch of different places all on your own, Clutch Parlays brings it all together in one streamlined experience. Find the best line, build smarter parlays, track every bet, and make more informed betting decisions, all with ClutchParlays.com. Go to ClutchParlays.com today and use code LOCKEDON for your first month free on a monthly plan. ClutchParlays.com, bring together live odds, line shopping, predictions, bet tracking, and analytics all in one place so that you can bet with more confidence. Pick smarter, parlay sharper.
Before we get into the rest of today's show, it's time for the Everyday Icon presented by Stance. And if you haven't tried Stance socks, they are amazing. They are so comfortable. And their MLB collection, it's fire. Check out these City Connects that I got from Stance. These things are amazing. I have several pairs. I love them. As an official sock partner of Major League Baseball, Stance knows greatness isn't built in a single moment. It's earned over time through consistency, preparation, and showing up every day. That's why each week we're going to recognize one player whose performance embodies those same qualities. This week's Everyday Icon is Sal Stewart. Sal is going to continue to push towards 30 home runs. He is going to continue to battle to lead the league in RBIs. He's going to help get Elly De La Cruz better at bats because he is dangerous behind him, and he's going to chase the Rookie of the Year award. Sal Stewart is going to get it done. Check out the Icon collection over at Stance for premium comfort, performance, and durability designed for whatever your day brings. Use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Stance, the official sock partner of Major League Baseball. Learn more at stance.com.
Thank you for making Locked On Reds part of your day. Thank you for making us your first listen, your second listen, however many listens that you make us part of your day. We appreciate you. And thanks for helping make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Look, you already make us your team every day. Take it up a notch. Go ad free with the Everydayer Club. We have a link down in the description below that you can check that out. We're also going to have something a little bit later on this month for Everydayers only, where we are hanging out on a video chat and talking some baseball, talking some things with you. Not for recording. It won't be like broadcast or podcast or anything like that. It'll be a special thing for Everydayers only. So make sure you check that out today. All right, Steve, we talked about the hitters. We're going to go to the mound and kind of look forward here. I mean, talking about the guys that are still here, Brady Singer is still here. He has pitched better as of late, and there's a chance that he could be around next year for multiple different things. I think that what I'm looking for from him is just continuing to profile a lot better, because the early season returns were just so rough on him. Like, he still is fighting the fact that he's been very low on the totem pole as far as major league pitchers go at allowing hard hit contact. His average exit velocity against him has not been good. And so we're seeing that tick down just a little bit, but not to the point that it's getting him into the red where it's good. It's still in the blue. So moving forward, I think that what we see is kind of what we're going to get. I think he's more of a 4.0 to 4.5 ERA guy. And that's okay, knowing that he's going to be in the back of the rotation.
Yeah, he's basically, we talked about this on our last show, Jeff. He's basically going to be pitching for trying to earn a qualifying offer, it's crazy to me, but that's really where he is right now. And if he can go out the rest of the way and keep doing what he's done, right? If he can give you 6 innings or better on each start, and if he can allow 4 runs or less, if he goes out and does that and keep the Reds in every ball game that he starts, I really do see a lane where he walks away with a qualifying offer that's going to get him about $23 million. I really think it could happen. And it's wild to me, but these are the times that we're living in. Because really, Brady Singer is capable of doing that. I really can see him going out there the rest of the way and giving us 6 innings a start, giving us those 4 runs or less, and keeping the Reds in ball games, which is not going to be nothing when we get to the month of September. So I think that Brady has finally gotten back to being Mr. Consistency. And that's really what he was lacking the front part of the season. Yeah. He was just inconsistent. Now that he's found that again, I just look for more of the same from him. And I think that he can deliver that.
And we were talking a little bit about like projecting who the MVP is going to be. We talked about it being a 3-horse race: Sal Stewart, Elly De La Cruz, and Chase Burns. The interesting part about this will be how much more does he pitch. We had a little bit of a conversation yesterday of the team could have him pitch all the way through the end of the season, which for me would make it difficult for the other guys to eclipse him for team MVP. He has been so good for this team on the mound that, I mean, they have won the majority of his ball games. He at one point had won 12 games in a row. And actually, I don't think that decision streak has ended. He can still build on that. And moving forward, I think we're probably like ideally looking at 4 or 5 more starts that he could add to his resume.
Yeah, right now, Jeff, he sits at 118 2/3 innings pitched. He is 13-1 on the season. 21 ball games he started. If he starts 6 more games, that gets him to 27 starts on the year. Gets him through the rest of the season. God help us. I think the Reds are going to do it. The more I have said it out loud, the more I have talked about it, I don't think they're going to shut him down. That finishes him. If he starts 6 more games and goes 6 innings in each start, 36 more innings, that puts him at 155-ish innings on the year. That's a lot on a rookie arm.
Yeah.
I hope health-wise he can hold up to that. But if he does that, he has a real argument to be the MVP of this team. We'll get into that here in the next segment. But what's realistic? If they're going to run him through the rest of the season, Jeff, I would like there to be a hard cap. He throws 5 innings, no more, no less. Yeah. He pitches 5. They pull him out. 5 starts, 5 innings apiece, 25 innings. That gets us around 135, 145 innings. I can live with it. I can live with it if hard cap him at 5 innings a start.
But that, even if you only pitch him once a week, you're still shutting him down 2 weeks before the season is over at 5 starts. 6 starts, I think it's 1 week before the season. So, like, if he's not shut down.
Bullpen day.
But they still limit him.
Bullpen day. Terry Francona can make that last start. I don't care. But
yeah. No, I agree. They should definitely shut him down. But I'm saying, like, yeah, like if they were to stretch him out to the rest of the season, he's got like 7 or 8 starts that he will make. I really don't want to see that happen. Looking at the bullpen, this is an interesting one. We're going to talk about like best bullpen pitcher here in a minute when we include awards and stuff like that. The interesting guy in all of this to me is Emilio Pagan, because Emilio Pagan has really pitched well as of late. Like his season stats still don't reflect it because he had a couple of blowups early on in the season whenever he was still working through that fatigue from last year and he was dealing with some injuries and things like that. He's healthy now. And what we have seen from him recently is there might be a base runner here or there, but he is making the pitch whenever he needs it. I'm curious to see how he finishes out the rest of the season because he's got an argument to at least put himself up against Brock Burke for best reliever on the team.
Yeah, you look at his totals on the season, Jeff, and he's at 13 saves now. The ERA is down to 4.26. For those that still,
it's like a 2-run jump or 2-run.
Yeah, it's really he could he pull down 10, 15 more saves before the end of the year? Maybe he could finish the season with around 25 saves, which, given how this season started for him, given the way it's gone, that's pretty impressive. I would take
like 2 months without getting a save at one point, I think.
Yeah, I think it's realistic to say that he'll crack 20 in saves. Could he get to 25? I think so. As long as he continues to pitch the way that he's pitched thus far. And I call that a win, considering how things went for a while there for Emilio Pagan. Another guy I'm looking at in this bullpen, Jeff. Can Brock Burke survive the year without his arm falling off? We talked about this with Tony Santillan last year when he pitched in 82 ball games. Tony Santillan pitched in what? 82?
Well, he pitched in 80. He pitched in 80, but he warmed up in a couple more, so he could.
That's right. So right now, as we're talking, Brock Burke's been in 56 ball games. That's the league leading in appearances, and he's thrown 53 innings. So there's been some short outings in there. Does Brock Burke get into 70 ball games this year? I think he does.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that's going to make it hard for others on this team to win reliever of the year, as we will discuss along with team MVP and best starting pitcher coming up next. Make baseball season more this year over on Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, where you can trade on every single game, or you can look into future markets like the Reds to qualify for the playoffs. That's right. There is a market for that. The market is up to 9% for the Reds to make the playoffs. It was at 8% the other day. It's climbing, baby. So if you want to check that out, you can put a $100 trade over on that market, and that'll pay out exactly $767.32 if the Reds are to make the playoffs. And that's all over on Kalshi, where you're trading against peers in a live market, which means there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Download the Kalshi app today and use the code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi. Trade on anything. That's KALSHI. 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
There are still plenty of things to be excited about with the Cincinnati Reds, and plenty of things to go down to the ballpark and watch live. There's nothing better than seeing things happen in person down at GABP, and that is where Game Time comes in. The problem with going live is you have to get those tickets, and there's long queues, there's surprise fees. Prices jump at checkout, but not with Game Time. We love using this. Jeff and I talk about it all the time. We go down to the Dora, we find our spot, we have a beverage, have something to eat, and right as we get close to first pitch, we jump on Game Time, we grab our tickets, and we head into the stadium. It's 2 taps, and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide to go down to the ballpark at the last minute. Take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms do apply, but again, just create your account and redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. If you can't watch us here on YouTube, we are on every single audio podcasting app around. If you find one we're not on and you need us there, message Jeff. He can probably make it happen for you. Audios is also where the Everydayer Club lives. $5 a month, $50 a year for ads-free Locked On Reds, which the link for is in the show description. All right, Jeff. It's time to talk some awards. Way too early, but let's predict some things. There's a couple of these that are no-brainers, and there's a couple of these that could really go some kind of direction. We're just not sure. Let's start with one that I don't know, is not a no-brainer. There could be some arguments to be had, but let's start with reliever of the year. We just talked about Brock Burke. It's going to be hard, I think, for anybody else to steal this from him. 56 ball games, a 2.52 ERA. But hold on, because TJ Antone says, hold my beer. And if I'm giving out an award to a relief pitcher this year, it's to TJ Antone for his mechanically repaired 3 times over elbow that is currently sitting with 35 1/3 innings pitched in 35 ball games with a 2.29 ERA, a strikeout per 9 of 8.4, a walk rate, sir, less than 3 at 2.3. Give me some more TJ Antone.
Yeah, the interesting part about comparing TJ Antone to Brock Burke obviously has the workload advantage because he's thrown 53 2/3 innings compared to TJ Antone's 35 1/3. But like, it's the value that TJ Antone has had in those 35 1/3, because at least according to Fangraphs, they have more WAR for Antone than they do for Burke. Now it's 0.5 to 0.4, so it's not like that much more. But the thing that they're talking about with Brock Burke is that his xFIP, so fielding independent pitching, and then X, which is expected fielding independent pitching, says that his ERA is super lucky. Brock Burke's xFIP is 5.01. Part of that is because Brock Burke has a very unsustainable 6.5% homer to fly ball ratio. League average is 14%. And then you also have the fact that he doesn't allow a ton of ground balls, and with 40% of that is 60% of the batted balls he allows is in the air. So there's something about this here where it's not just the workload being a lot on Brock Burke. It's that some of the things that he is doing is a little bit lucky, especially with the fact he's got a walk percentage much higher than TJ Antone. So you've got something here. Like, TJ Antone's got an argument. Emilio Pagan's going to have an argument at the end of the day. I think that if Brock Burke does not blow up like the luck stats are saying, I think Brock Burke takes this home. But
I'm not
there's
sure
a chance that TJ Antone could jump in front.
I'm not sure if the team gives out a comeback player of the year award, but they should this year. TJ Antone.
He won it when he pitched his first game, but he's certainly won it now. Yeah.
Exactly. He has been tremendous. You know, I remember saying in February that I was counting on him for nothing. If he even appears in the big leagues, it was icing on the cake. TJ Antone, hand clap for you. An amazing season that he has put together. Let's talk about starting pitchers, Jeff, because this is one of those no-brainers. It's Chase Burns. There is no other candidate. There is no other argument. Just give him the hardware.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a legitimate shot at team MVP, to say nothing about best starting pitcher. Like, Andrew Abbott has been fine, and he's been the only durable one in there. What's interesting is Fangraphs, again, talking about some luck stats and things like that, really likes Rhett Lauder. They have Rhett Lauder currently at just over 1 WAR. They're right there. Mm-hmm. Like, and there's always a little bit of deviation because it's math, and so they have other things in there. But he's right there with Andrew Abbott. Neither one of them are anywhere near Chase Burns.
No. Let's move into the hitter category, Jeff. And hitter of the year is an interesting one, because if you're looking at the hitter of the year, this is a 2-horse race between Elly and Sal. And, you know, you made a great case for Elly there in the first segment, because you're right. You know, while Elly hasn't done that take over a ball game thing that we wanted to see from him all the time this season, he is having the best season of his career. His batting average is amazing. His on-base percentage is amazing. Slugging is a little bit less, but I think that's going to get there based on the predictions we just made. So you take those numbers, you take that statistic, you look at his OPS plus right now, and the fact that he is 32% better than league average as we talk. But then there's Sal Stewart. And does Sal Stewart take that award? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm not going to name Sal Stewart the hitter of the year. I'm going to give it to Elly. And my reasons for that will be apparent here in a few minutes.
Yeah, I think that it's really hard to make the argument against Elly. They put him in the leadoff spot and he shined. And as we said a few moments ago, and I will say this all throughout the offseason, however long it lasts, this man is your leadoff hitter in perpetuity. It should not change. Elly De La Cruz should hit first for the Reds as long as he is here. But according to OPS Plus, he is 11% better than Sal Stewart. So I think it's hard for me to say that Sal Stewart's a better hitter when everything else is pointing to Elly De La Cruz to be the better hitter. The reason that Elly De La Cruz gets best hitter and not team MVP, though, is because of Sal Stewart.
That's exactly where you and I lockstep on this one, because Sal Stewart has enabled Elly De La Cruz to become this hitter that he is right now. Because Sal Stewart has such a potential to do damage, Elly is getting pitches to hit. And not to take away from the fact that Elly really worked on his right-handed game. Elly has really put in effort to improve his numbers. But Sal Stewart has made it possible for Elly to get the at-bats and just not be walked. And that is really what Elly was struggling with in seasons past. Sal Stewart has been the heartbeat of this lineup. He has been the engine that has driven this team. He has been a bright spot. He has been a leader, and he's done all of these things as a rookie right out of the gate. For all of those reasons, I am absolutely 100% on board that Sal Stewart is the most valuable player on this team in the year 2026, and he should win the MVP award for the Cincinnati Reds.
Let me give you a slash line. 304, 370, 635. That is Sal Stewart's slash line with runners in scoring position.
That is phenomenal.
And that is on a team that the Reds is a team slash 213, 306, 381 with runners in scoring position. Sal Stewart is this team with runners in scoring position. It's not close. He brings the value. Elly brings the fireworks, and that's how this lineup goes. They got the 1-2 punch, and the 1-2 punch exists because of that second part of the 1-2 punch because of Sal Stewart. I think that there's still going to be a big argument to be had between him and Chase Burns, but this lineup isn't going anywhere without Sal. And so he's got a big argument with Chase for team MVP.
And that is where we're going to wrap it up for today. For those of you calling us negative Nancy's, put that in your positivity pipe and smoke it. We're going to be back in your feeds tomorrow with a special. The gang is all here, guys. What a fun show this was to record. We have all of the hosts of the National League Central kind of following up on the trade deadline, talking about how we think the season's going to go. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of talent in this division on the field, and there's a lot of talent in this division on the Locked On Network. We had a big time. Make sure you've clicked subscribe. Make sure you click that notification bell. Check out this show. We always have a great time when we get the gang together, and this was no different. We will be back in your feeds with that show tomorrow, and Jeff's going to have you after that the rest of the way because I'm going on vacation. So make sure you're subscribed. Click the notification bell. We'll keep gathering up the news, the notes, the rumors, the reports, and the information all the rest of the way in 2026. See if these predictions hold true for us and keep you locked on Reds every single day.